I had followed that pope because so many of the people that I had worked with were against this pope. I was like, why are you against him? He said, well, he's taking a stand on abortion. He's taking a stand on these different things. And I go, well, that seems to be what he should be taking a stand on. He took a stand on a lot of issues that were very controversial. And so I was a little bit interested that way, but I didn't really follow it. But what I did follow was that at this World Youth Festival, there was going to be over 1 million people come to Denver, Colorado for this festival. And so all that was in the newspapers and on the news all week long was these huge events at Mile High Stadium. And it was huge. They were calling it the like something akin to Woodstock kind of thing for Catholics kind of thing. And so I thought, well, it was interesting. But the thing was going to end with this pilgrimage. All these teenagers were going to walk from Mile High Stadium 10 miles to this field in Cherry Creek, Colorado, where on the final weekend they were going to have a huge deal. And just for the record, I'm not the least bit Catholic. I have zero Catholic in me or anything like that. I have respect for Catholics and all that. We can talk about that all day some other time. But I just wanted to see this huge spectacle. I mean, 1 million people in one place, and it was all on the news. And I had nothing to do, so I went down there, and I kind of jumped in the little procession, the last mile there. Some priests snuck me in, because you had to have credentials to get in. And I go in there, and it was amazing. If you've ever been in a field with 1 million people, it's quite a sight to behold. So I was there, and that night, people from all over the world in different parts of this field, they'd have folk dancing over here, they'd be playing guitars over here. It was an amazing event. And so they had the big event that night, the Friday night. The Pope flew in on the military helicopters. They had their big service and everything. And then you spent the night in the field. The next morning, they woke up, and same thing, except the Pope's always late. You need to know that. And so it's supposed to start at one time, but it starts later. And so it's August in Cherry Creek, Colorado. Service was supposed to start at 8. Now it's 10 o'clock. Now it starts to start at about 10:30. Here comes the Pope flying in on the military helicopters and all those kinds of things, 10:30, 11 o'clock. They start the service and everything. Well, if you can imagine Colorado at the altitude and the heat in August at 11 o'clock in the morning, and now it's noon. And kids start dropping like flies. Oh, I spent the next 2 hours scooping up kids with all kinds of other adults and rushing them to medical tents. People died that day. They had to send in the National Guard. It was that big a deal. It didn't stop the service or anything, but I mean, they did all these things. And kids they're just dropping like flies, being rushed to hospitals. And this kind of talks about it. It talks about thousands fall victim to the heat, 14,000 overcome at the bath. All those things are going on there. That's kind of some pictures of what it looked like just to see it. People, I don't think I read there. And so anyway, I watched eagerly the next day. By the time I left that day, I was just exhausted. And I watched the news to see if they really covered and told the truth about what happened there and everything. Plus, I wanted to know what happened. What happened? Sure enough, the newspapers, they reported it accurately. But here's what they found. These kids, for a whole week, all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, they had lived basically on junk food. Candy bars, soda, chips. Sounds like a full course meal for you guys, doesn't it? All these different kinds of things all week long. And so get the picture here. They were never hungry. When they were hungry, they ate. They weren't thirsty. When they were thirsty, they drank. But under the heat and that diet over a 5 or 6 day period, in the heat of the day, that diet could not sustain life. Do you understand that? And that sets the backdrop for so many things. Now fast forward, let me put it in a little different context for you. My wife and I, we were, my family, all through the 90s basically, we attended Mariners Church over here. We went to Mariners Church. And during that time, we had different friends that would come visit with us, And we were real involved. My wife was real involved, and I was part of leadership with different things we were doing. But we'd friends that were at smaller churches like this that were either deacons, or they were Sunday school teachers. They'd have these different roles that they would play. And they would come visit over to our church, over at Mariners at that time, and they would sit there and they'd go, oh, the worship's amazing. All these sounds, and the temperature's just right, and these comfortable seats, and all these kinds of things. And the preacher would speak, they'd get all teary-eyed and everything, and they would just go, that was amazing. And their kids, and all these, have to play on like $1 million license and everything, And so they would come visit, and they'd say, what do you think? Should we go? And I would always say, what? No. Say, you know what? If you're involved and you're leading where you're at, and you're involved and God's using you, why would you leave that to come just be a spectator over there? But anyway, a couple families came over, and there's 3 situations I want to tell you about. One was a couple that, they went to a different church every week. They love visiting all the churches. And our church is one of the churches that they would visit. And when you're a visitor at every church you go to, you get the best parking spot because there's always little spots marked out for visitors. You never have to work in the nursery. You just drop the kids off and go. They're just happy because you're a visitor. In fact, they probably got a really good seat for you towards the front somewhere because you're a visitor. And so that's how they lived. Now, he had been a worship pastor at a church about this size. He had been involved in every part of what they were doing. He got his feelings hurt at that church, left that church, and that's when they started their visiting. He said, I'll never again be in a situation like that where anybody tell me what to do. And so they go through this for about 5 or 6 years. Worship pastor, strong in their faith. Now they've got 3 children. 5 years later, visiting. Best speakers, best singers, best everything, best parking, best everything. 6, 7 years later, divorce. Family number 2. They leave a church like this. They go to the bigger church. And they get there, and they say, we're going to commit. We're going to be here every single Sunday. We're going to make this our church. Every single Sunday they were there. They had their seats picked out. They would come to church. They would sit in church. They'd sing the music. They loved the worship. Get a little teary-eyed. The message would be great. Service would end. They'd get their car, and they'd go home, and they'd come back the next Sunday. And Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. 5 years in, 6 years in, 7 years in, almost the same exact time. Divorce. Third person was a single dad. He lived across the street from us. And he was a professor at one of the universities here locally, about as liberal as you could be. Wasn't interested in this Christian stuff at all. Don't tell me anything. But he had been through a lot. He was on his 3rd marriage. And in his 3rd marriage, he had a little boy. And as soon as he had the little boy, spent the first year of life, they were married, she left him. And then she did everything she could to keep the boy from him. And he was heartbroken. He would get to see that little boy 1 weekend a month. And it would just crush him to send the boy back, And he became real good friends with my wife, and they would talk and everything, And my wife was one of the main singers over there. And so at some point, he said, so you're singing this Sunday, huh? He said, well, I might stop by, she said. And so he came over there, and he came that one time, and he heard her sing. And then he said, well, and he went and looked at the children's stuff. He said, man, whenever I come from my boy back here, we're going to go. But when his boy would come, he wouldn't just come to church. He would go take his son to the Sunday school area, to the children's area. He would volunteer. He was in there every single Sunday with his child. He worked in there. It wasn't long until 2 Sundays a month, even when his son knew someone there, he was volunteering in the children's. Found out that there was a men's group. So he started attending the men's group. Began to grow, began to get involved, began to serve, began to do all these different things. And over the course of that same period of time, about 1 year in, he got to have his son twice a month. About 2 or 3 years in, the mom's tired of being a mom, he gets in more and more. About 4 years in, 5 years in, he now has full custody. And his wife has the visitation. She listens to some things that you just don't want your kids around. 6 years in, he's stronger in his faith than those couples that have been coming and they grew up in church, you know. And then about the 6th year there, they have this, it's a leadership retreat. And they literally go to Palm Springs, and anybody with any kind of a leader in the church, they have a conference for on a weekend in Palm Springs. So my wife and I, we go up there. It's an incredible time. And there we are, hundreds of us, or 200 or 300 of us, and we're there. And I'll never forget, we're singing worship. It's a powerful time of worship. We're singing and praising. And I look over there, and across the way, about 2 sections over, is that single dad. And he's there. I remember thinking, how is it these two couples that know the Lord, they grew up in the Lord, 5 years later, 6 years later, in a ditch. Here's this guy, he didn't know anything about Jesus. He doesn't even know anything he likes Jesus. Doesn't like Christians, he knew that. But he begins to come, he begins to plug in, he begins to serve, he begins to grow, and all these things, and here he is, the strongest one of the bunch. 2 or 3 years later, he remarries, he's got a family, he's plugged in, he's involved, and he's growing. Now, how does that happen? And it's the same thing as the story. A life of simply going to church, hearing the music, singing the songs, maybe even God speaks to you in the messages, and you plug in for an hour or two on Sunday morning, and then when you leave, you unplug and go back into your world, and all week long we live in our world. Next Sunday we come in, we plug back in, and we unplug and we go. And basically what happens is, it's a diet, candy bars, and soda, and chips. It won't sustain life. It won't sustain life. It is so critical. It is so critical. The difference, I believe, and I talk about this in my book, the difference, I believe, is this whole thing of connecting. You've got to connect to grow. You just have to connect to grow. You cannot take a plant, I don't care the most thriving, the most healthy plant, cut it off and separate it from its root system and separate it from all that, and it won't sustain life. You understand that? At some point you have to put down roots. You just do. You've got to say, this is where I'm going to plant. And then you begin to grow. And you need water, and you need food, and you need sunshine, and even some manure. You need the bad stuff, you know, all that, the junk. That's all part of helping you grow. You understand? But when you plug in and you plant, what's that look like? Well, it means that every day you're going to take a little bit of time and pray. It means that, you know what? At least 2 or 3 times a week you're going to open the Word, and even if you just read the Psalm of the day, you're going to begin to read. It means that if they offer opportunities at your church for further growth, every single Sunday morning here at this church, you can come at 11, or you can come at, 10:30, or not 9:30, or 9:30. That's a choice. You can come at 9:30, and that's not just a message for everyone. That's you learning how to decipher what God's saying to you, how to read the Word for yourself. You see that? It means that as God begins to introduce you to different couples in the church, instead of just walking in, you say, hey, we're going to go over here to Denny's. You want to come with us? We're going to Starbucks after church. You want to come? And you begin to connect to other people, God's people. And you begin to develop some relationships. That's kind of what it looks like. You understand that? And then you begin to serve. You just find somebody that looks like they're in charge and say, if I wanted to help out, if I wanted to serve,